Thank you for attending. It's a great talk. One of the interesting things I thought was the discussion about disciplined growth. And I want to tell you our story about trying to fast track towards production in order to generate revenue that we can use then to develop a much larger mine. So it's really about some of that disciplined growth as he was just talking about. And one of the things that we're excited about is not only the gold price, which is pretty exciting in itself, but the other thing is really RPX Gold. On Thursday, we changed the name from Red Pine Exploration, a company that's been around for about 30 years or so. We decided to change the name. That better represents our future path forward towards production. The other reason that we're really excited is about a year ago, we started on a path of looking at a way to drill off a very large deposit. And we knew that dilution to the shareholders wasn't the best way to raise the money to do this drilling. So because the deposit comes right to surface, we made a plan to do to get this into production, generates revenue that we can then use to drill off and develop a much larger underground deposit and open pit in this area. So again, it's disciplined growth. We're excited about that because we really started looking at this a year ago before the gold price started to go nuts. It's a great plan, and now bringing it out at this time is really great timing with the gold price the way it is. So that's really the story of RPX. It's been an exploration company. The real investment thesis here is that we're valued as an exploration company, and we have a plan to drive this forward into production. And really what that takes is a couple of things. You need to have a deposit that you can mine and access quickly. Our deposit's 2.5 kilometers long. It's right at surface. It's 5 to 10 meters thick, and it grades in around 3 to 4 grams per ton. So it's been sitting there for years because it's been fragmented. We brought all of the properties together under one company, so one umbrella. Therefore, we knew the deposit. We put together a new geologic model. We could assess it. We updated the resource estimate, and this is what allows us to be able to understand the deposit and bring it into mining. The other thing is you have to have infrastructure. And where we're located is very close to a lot of other big producers in the area. We can access their mills, do the toll milling, generate the revenue we need for more drilling. The other thing is, how do we get this permitted? How do we get the social license to go ahead? This has been a property that's been mined on and off by small-time developers over the last 100 years. So we have patented claims. We can drill on these claims. We can build roads. We can do it. We don't require a permit because we own the land outright. Now, we go into commercial production, we would need a closure plan and some other permits, which we're working on now. So we're fast tracking everything, and we wanted to do this to generate the revenue. And with gold price the way it is, that's just really gravy on top of what we were already planning. So we're excited to get this PEA. It's going to be coming out very shortly. Like I said, we've been working for a year on this because when we found out this could work, we really went back and did the drilling to make sure it was there, because you don't want to have egg on your face and go back in, you drill it and you kill it. So we know it comes right to surface, and that's why we came forward with this plan. So where we're located, it's Ontario. It's northwestern Ontario, very close to the North Shore of Lake Superior. Beautiful area, a lot of infrastructure, Trans-Canada Highway, railway line. We're right beside the town of Wawa, which used to be a 6,000 person town when those mines were running. Those mines are closed down. It's about a 3,000 person town now. So they're really eager to get business back into town. They've been very supportive. We also have our exploration agreements with the 3 First Nations groups in the area. So we have a good social position there in the area. But what's most important, if you look at that map, you can see West Dome Gold Mines is about 100 kilometers away. The Alamos Gold Mines, which is about 40 kilometers away, has 2 mills. Hemlo, which just changed hand from VRIC about a year ago, that's about 140 kilometers. So these are all truckable distances for our mine. So this is where the opportunity is to toll mill. Now, we've been in discussions, initial discussions. We're not announcing that in the PA, but it'll be shortly thereafter about where we expect the ore to go. But we have opportunities here for some different places. And this is what makes it possible to get into production in this way. When we look at the deposit, it has a big resource, 1.7 million ounces. It's a large intrusive body. This is also what hosts the Magino deposit, which Alamos owns, the Cote Lake deposit, which IAMGOLD owns down in Sudbury, the Eagle River mine, that's very close here, which Wesdome owns. This is a very good host. The reason, it's a very hard rock. When it gets faulted, it just cracks, the fluids move in, and you end up with gold going into different cracks and makes for big deposits. So I've always liked it. In fact, I spent the last 7 years of my life with Wesdome Gold Mines as the VP Exploration, found a number of deposits there on their property. I knew of this property. I wanted to buy it when I was at Wesdome. When the opportunity came to actually run this company, I took it, and now I'm driving this forward. It has a big resource. It just needs the focus to drive this thing forward into production. So you can see it on surface here. You can see right in this area, that's an old quartz vein. That's what they mined in the old days. These quartz veins, they didn't go very far, very high grade, but very hard to mine with machinery like we do today in underground and open pit mines. What we want to do is to mine the entire zone from hanging wall to footwall, which is about 5 to 10 meters thick, and we're just going to mine all of that, make 3 or 4 grams per ton. This thing continues on surface for 2.5 kilometers. You can see we remove a few trees, a bit of dirt. We can drill and blast and start mining in here right away once we have the permit. So it's a very simple project. We just put the ore in a truck, we haul it down the road to somebody else's mill, and they send us a check for the gold. So, you know, it's a great way to start. It's easy for a small company to do. We would have contract mining, so we're not putting a lot of capital in, so that keep our risk very low. We pay extra operating costs for that, but it's well worth it given the gold price and the high margin on the gold. And that keeps our risk down to a minimum. It allows us not to have to go out and raise a lot of money and get into debt, and we can get this going and producing money that we can then use to drill off and develop the much larger project. So really what this looks like, this is the side of the deposit. So you can see it's right at surface. It's 2.5 kilometers long. It's plunging down towards the lower left part of the screen. And you can see the CN Tower down there for scale. This deposit, it's very big. So when we started to drill off the exploration here, we drilled some holes at depth. You can see down in this area, we had some very good results in here already. And we said, wow, this thing's going to be a lot bigger than we thought. But how are we going to continue to drill all these holes for a little company like ours to raise the money and dilute the shareholders? We didn't want to do that at all. So this is where we decided to let's make our own money. It comes right to surface. Let's get it into production. And you can see here on this diagram, right near surface, you see these small open pits. We're going to start with these small open pits, very high grade. We mine a few 100,000 ounces there. We put it in a truck. We generate the revenue from that. You can imagine today's price with the prices that we could make on this, that generates a lot of money. And that money then could be used to drill off and develop the underground. In fact, if we put a mill in, it generates probably enough revenue to even pay for that. So, I mean, it's a really spectacular opportunity, and we liked it a year ago at those prices. We love it now. It's just a really fabulous price to take this forward. And that's really the how we're going to go forward and develop this project. And all the numbers, the details behind all of this plan and this concept, that's what's going to be coming out very shortly in the PA. And that's when I think the value then of the company will start to be realized, as we have a plan that nobody really knows about. So we just got to get it out to the public and generate the interest. Here's an example of some of the exploration targets that we have in the area. You can see in the multicolored area, that's the main part of the deposit. But at depth, we intersected another big body. We don't know how big it is. We put it, it's an easy area to double the size of the deposit. It just needs a lot more work, which we don't have the money to do. That's what this production allows us to do. And really, what's the investment here? You can see we have a good shareholder base. Half institutions. Alamos is one of our largest shareholders. They're right beside us. They believe in us. They've been very supportive. We have a couple of other big funds, the Merck Fund, Mackenzie, Gold 2000, Royal Bank. So we've brought in a number of big funds behind this, which are mostly institutional investors before. So now we have some big support from the big guys. And really, what's the value here is taking an exploration company, exploration valuation, to a producing company, and that's probably, as you can see from a $40 per ounce value up to somewhere closer to $400 an ounce as you get to be a junior producer. And that's really where we're off to go to, and that PA is going to be coming out shortly. So I invite you to watch the company. It'll have all the details that we just talked about today. So thank you very much.